Ooh, ooh, ooh. The Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts, a beloved community we choose to be, where art, life, and spirituality connects you and me. Science of mind and spirit, the foundation we teach and live. Love, joy, and belonging are the gifts we have to give. Our consciousness, our being, open at the bottom, open at the top. We're not simply one with God, but we are it itself. It will never stop. SIA, our spiritual center, family and home. It's where we come to practice and remember there is only one life, one mind, one infinite, eternal, self-existent. 'Cause we pause, embodying all that we are. We shine like a glorious star. Our consciousness, our being, open at the bottom, open at the top. We're not simply one with God, but we are it itself. It will never stop. SIA, our spiritual center, family and home. It's where we come to practice and remember there is only one. Spirituality, it's our way of life. We value laughter, truth, and justice. We express artistry as our living practice. So come and join us at SIA. Know you found a community that will love you every day.
Namaste, greetings and blessings, and welcome to the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts. This is our Sunday message, and I am Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, the founder and spiritual director of this center. And I invite you to watch not only this Sunday message, but any of our archived messages. I invite you to join any classes or events that we have going on. I invite you to reach out and email if you have any questions. Questions about this community, questions about me, questions about what we do, or questions about this science of mind and spirit, liberation theology that we practice and teach. And if by chance you find yourself seeking beloved community with other like-minded beings, even if you already belong, are a member of another community, church, or center, you are more than free to have multiple affiliations wherever you are fed and find community. You are invited. And lastly, feel free to click like, subscribe, and share this or any other message or announcements with others in your circle. And with that, much appreciation, love, and blessings. Enjoy the message. Namaste and greetings as we get ready to close out February. How did we get to February already? Or next week is March. How did we get to March so fast? Is it you? Is it because of what you're doing with time? I'm just saying, if it's you, stop. So this week, what are we talking about this week? We're talking about that which is on the edge of the possible. So, of course, we start off with a basic question. Well, what is possible? The realm and consciousness of possibility is where dreams begin and take form. Take that in first. The realm of consciousness, or the realm and consciousness of possibility, that's where dreams begin and take form. Because we cannot create something that we don't believe is possible. The Wright brothers would have never been able to take flight if they didn't believe it was possible. Why bother trying to create something that you already believe is impossible? Right, it makes no sense. So we cannot create what we don't believe is possible. Do we believe a world that works for all is possible? Because if we don't, we can't create it. If we believe it is impossible to end war, then war will continue to be because we do not believe that peace is possible. So this week we are going to awaken or reawaken our individual and our collective imagination by daring to believe in a world that is shaped by love, justice, equity, inclusion, creativity, and the power of spiritual vision, or the creative power of spiritual vision, as it says. I'm quick to tweak things and change them up. So what does it mean to reawaken or to awaken? Just simply awaken your own imagination. What is possible, or what would be possible if we really believed, and if we really lived as though we believed anything is possible? It was just a question. If we believed anything was possible, what would be possible? When we move into the unknown inside of us and embrace the inarticulate edge of our current awareness, if we are willing to stay there, feeling with our whole hearts, and not leaping back into our minds to escape the uncertainty, new wisdom is born and transformation can occur. Are we willing to move to the edge of our current awareness, to that place of uncertainty, that place of mystery, without jumping back into the same mental paradigms of inaction? When Dr. Holmes says, we are not bound by precedent, but by principle. Precedent says, well, this is the way it's always been. It's the way it's always going to be. In order to have new wisdom be born and transformation to occur, we have to say, just because it's how it was, doesn't mean that's how it has to be now, and certainly not how it has to be in the next now moment. Slavery was a thing. And while in many places in the world there is a form of, but we'll say here, chattel slavery in the United States was a thing. Now it is not. But why not? It used to be. Well, we used to talk on phones like this too. We used to ride on horses everywhere. So if we want something new, we must be willing to push the boundaries and truly have a new thought. So, by any chance, from last week, do you remember when I said the following? Faith can move mountains. Do you remember this? If you don't, then I invite you to go back and rewatch. Okay, because it's going to be important playing in. Because I also mentioned faith that moves mountains, and I gave an acronym for faith. We're expanding upon this today. Okay. Faith that knows possibility. That's what we need. A life-affirming faith that knows possibility. Because when we have life-affirming faith, which is faith that is rooted in love, then we are able to do life-affirming things that create life-affirming series of dominoes and ripples through the cosmos. We change things. It's not rooted in fear. It's not rooted in anger and hatred. It's rooted in love. Now, why is love so, okay, so it's rooted in love. Well, two verses from the Bible that we're going to start off with. And I know some of us are very Bible, but the Bible is a great metaphysical text when we look at it as a novel, look at it as literature. Because as Alan Watts once said in telling a story about a Zen master, the Zen master's response, the person came to study the great Zen texts, the scrolls and books and stuff. And the Zen master said, when you truly understand Zen, then no matter where you look or what you read, you will find Zen there. The newspaper, you will find Zen. The telephone book, you will find Zen. Alice in Wonderland, you will find Zen. Same thing. When we approach all text from a metaphysical point of view, so let's explore. One verse says, love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. It also says, perfect love casts out non-life affirming fear. Okay. Now, put that in your mind as we continue, because we're going to massage and tweak some things. So let's go. Love, possibility, is precisely because love is simply another name. It's a synonym for the power and presence we call God, etc. So keep that in mind. Possibility, love bears, endures. Okay, so love is willing to, okay, wait. So possibility exists because love exists. Love makes the possible possible. That which God is as infinite possibility is the precise thing, the precise reason that possibility ripples throughout all of creation as a thing. If love did not exist, if God did not exist, okay? So possibility exists because the power of love, creation, all of these things exist. Dance was created out of love. Pottery out of love. And yeah, some people say, well, there was a need for pottery. Then why is it so ornate? Why did people start decorating it and creating variations of it? Because it became an art form. It was no longer simply functional, but even functionality is born out of love. I need something to carry water from the river to my family so that they can drink. I do that out of love. I carry water so they survive, so they live. Love. I carry water so that we can water the crops. I carry what? Love. It's all birthed out of love. To such a degree that, dare I say, well, first, you know who this is? Gene Roddenberry, the creator of, you said Star Wars? No, Tracy. Star Trek. USS Enterprise. Come on now. So, I, in my observations, etc., it's where I get the Gene Roddenberry created the characters of the original Star Trek series out of his love for the possibility of what united, harmonious, peaceful living could be on planet Earth. Because he envisioned not just are there humans working together, but there are beings of other species and things, aliens from other worlds and galaxies that coexist. A united federation of planets. He created this out of love. And from his love of these characters and this story, you know, we got inventions like James T. Kirk using a communicator, right? But that design of the communicator became what we acknowledge and recognize as the flip phone. Gene Roddenberry's love of these characters eventually led to another person who loved the design, who loved creation, who loved whatever, created the flip phone. It all births from the same thing. We can fast forward. Same, era of creation, imagination, births Star Trek: The Next Generation. Well, many things changed. They didn't communicate with communicators on, it was the tap, right? But they also had touch screens. The entire console, no more dials and levers, it was all touch screen. Well, so are our smartphones and computer screens and ATM machines and point of purchase. You see how this man's inventiveness, imagination rippled, and how his imagination inspired others in their imagination and their creativity and their love of, which birthed, which created, which manifested, and so on. You catching the? So when we say perfect love casts out fear, well, the fear of the unknown. No, if I'm in the space of infinite love and absolute love, now it doesn't mean I won't feel afraid, but it means I will not let the fear control me. I will feel it and I will act anyway. I will endure the discomfort in order to create. We are continually venturing into the unknown to bring forth every single drop of our essence as we work to become people who tear down old, outmoded, oppressive structures, give birth to new ones, and help all human beings have the opportunity and choice to be who they came here to be. So just breathe it in. Because our invitation is to ask, in what way am I venturing into the unknown? What does it look like? What does it mean for me to bring forth every single drop of my essence? What old and outmoded and oppressive structures am I tearing down within my own consciousness, with my own life, my relationships, etc.? How am I giving birth to new ones that are more life affirming? Ones that help me individually and help those around me to have the opportunity and the volition and choice to be who they choose to be. So you may also remember from last week when, we shared this. Vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. And so we remixed it, which we're going to remix it again. Vulnerability, when approached effectively, yields innovation born out of imagination, unrestrained by shame or limitation. Now, I know a lot of people don't like vulnerability, but when we approach it effectively, it will yield greater innovation. Innovation, think back to Gene Roddenberry in Star Trek. In order for, okay, so let's look at it this way, because you may be asking, well, how was Gene Roddenberry being vulnerable? In bringing his idea forth, which many people, you're creating what? A television show that what? No, a lot of people weren't interested. They're like, go somewhere with that. These things have happened to many people over the years. Whoopi Goldberg, George Lucas, many people. Vulnerability says, this is my idea and I must do what I can to bring it forth and give it life. So when it is approached effectively, as it was with him, it yielded innovation, cultural innovation, societal innovation, scientific innovation. There are many people who said they wanted to become astronauts. They went to work at NASA. They studied and they worked to get to NASA because of Star Trek. Many women because they saw Lieutenant Uhura. So, yields innovation that is born out of our imagination. It is unrestrained. There is no need for shame. There is no need for limitation. We simply hold the vision and we act. We hold the vision of what might be, what we believe is possible, and we act. And from that vulnerability, you brothers are crazy. Y'all trying to fly. Y'all stupid. But from their vulnerability, what was yielded? Many versions of the flying machine. To such a degree that now flying is a common mode of transportation for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people every day. One of the essential tools of faith is imagination. Every journey into the unknown requires imagination, which is the ability to see things, to feel things, to know things that are not yet visible and not yet manifest and tangible. George Lucas saw, now it tweaked and changed and evolved as he created, but he already saw the space cowboy epic. And it birthed. It became form. It became a film. It became all that it is now as a worldwide phenomenon of many stories and action figures and games and posters and. In what way are you? In what way am I? In what way are we engaging in the power of our imagination to see a thing that is there and continue it until we bring it into fruition? At one time, this was the image of the camera that eventually became, to the degree where now there are many directors and filmmakers who don't even use film. You're a filmmaker who doesn't use film to film. What? If you don't use film to film, how do you film? Sorry, Rainica. You get where I'm going. Because when we step into this aspect of faith and imagination, it automatically yields itself and moves into evolution. It changes, it morphs. The old and outmoded and the new and emerging. We could do this exact same thing with all of the structures, be it education and medicine and politics and governance and the legal system, even penitentiaries and jails. We could revolutionize the entire system of everything if we approached it effectively, rather than still trying to do it the way it's always been done. Standing on the edge of the possible asks us to lean beyond what we think we know and dare to envision what could be possible regarding politics and equity and justice, what could be possible regarding eliminating gun violence, mass shootings, what could be possible in making sure that there are homes for everyone who wants to live in a home, that there is health care for everybody. What could be? Both Howard Thurman and Ernest Holmes invite us to lift our sight from small temporary fixes and see with the large view, the bird's eye, the eagle eye view, a faith that is wide enough and far enough and deep enough to hold and transform the world. Science of Mind teaches that there is a power greater than we are, a law of good that responds to our thought. When we align our collective consciousness with that vision, we multiply our impact and influence exponentially. This week's theme reminds us that the edge isn't just a metaphorical cliff. It is the threshold where faith meets action, where imagination meets the law, and where we step boldly into a large idea of who we are and what we can co-create together. What could be? You know, that whole idea reminds me of to boldly go where no one has gone before, to create a world that has never been before, but we know and believe that it can be. And we are choosing to live long and prosper because we understand, as the medallion that Spock is wearing, Kol Ut Shan, infinite diversity and infinite combinations. It is a concept deep within the Vulcan culture. Infinite diversity in infinite combinations. And what does it mean to honor and celebrate and include what could be. And we breathe. To discover that the many are the one, and that the one is the many, is to realize that both are words and noises representing what is at once obvious to sense and feeling, and an enigma to logic and description. Note how this is similar to what we say within Science of Mind and New Thought. There is only one. There's only one life. And yet there are countless, infinite diversity in infinite combinations of animals and plants, humans, insects. To discover that the many are the one, and that the one is the many, is to realize that both are words and noises representing what is at once obvious to sense and feeling, yet an enigma to logic and description. How can the many be one and the one many, but it's one? There's only one human race, which is made up of all humans. That which is humanity is a one, and yet all of us are expressions of humanity. And within each of our expressions, there is infinite diversity as it shows up through our age, gender, marital status, education, religious beliefs, ethnicity, and more. Because any permutation and combination of each of these things in those circles and slices of pie automatically change the vastness of how we show up, how God expresses in, through, and as us. We have not yet done what I believe we should do with our membership. We have yet to see what the multiple consciousness of a church body can do if the members are properly trained. If they permit somebody to exercise authority over them, not over their theology, not over their private lives, but over one thing only, their spiritual concepts. In other words, to understand that there is a law of good, there is a power in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it, and in fact, already are, and it will multiply its effects 1,000 times through the united consciousness of a group. How are we gathering as like-minded individuals for the common goal, the common creation of a world that works for all? Just as an example. When was the last time you engaged in a conversation, a strategy planning committee, if you will, specifically speaking to, okay, so how do we create a world that works for all? Who's bringing the bricks? Who's bringing the nails and the hammer? Who has the saw? Where's the land? Did we start excavating? Who's got the blueprints? Who's drawing the blueprints? Who's in charge of interior decorating? When was the last time you had that conversation with a team of people who are ready, willing, and able to begin the process of creating a world that works for all. What did he say? It will multiply its effects 1,000 times through the united consciousness of a group. So, in what way are we gathering as community? In what way are we supporting one another as community? In what way are we ensuring that the Jedi of community is, No, right. The one time I'm not talking about that Jedi, but I'm speaking about justice, equity, diversity, inclusion. In what way are we ensuring that all of that is a part of every single beloved community? So that every person, every consciousness can all be gathered together so that everyone's voice, everyone's imagination, everyone's faith is automatically part of the conversation. So, what does love say is possible? All freedom. Let's pause for a second. I want you to marinate on that previous one of what does love say is possible? All freedom journeys require an open mind, a mind that is not conditioned by past knowledge and experience, but open to possibility. Unless one is capable of imagining another possibility, one cannot free oneself from bondage. It's one reason why we talk about being open at the top, to which I always add open at the bottom, because unless we can have a new thought, unless we can tear down the old, outdated, outmoded, ineffective, and replace it with that which is more effective, that which is more life affirming, then we're going to be stuck in the bondage of same old, the way it's always been. Corrupt politics, corruption and greed and selfishness, I, me, war and rumors of war. Like, it's going to continue to be that. The only way we get out of bondage is we must move beyond the old, conditioned, past ideas of, well, this is how we use the phone. We would have never gotten to smartphones by staying here. We would have never gotten to jets and things had we stayed with, okay, slide the cardboard on here, and if I flap hard enough, of the great number of people who feel outraged over what seems to be a terrible miscarriage of justice, how many do something concrete about it? All the energy is exhausted in such remarks as, oh, how awful, what a tragedy, something ought to be done, what a shame. Again, our emotional reaction to situations causes us to adopt measures that bring quick and temporary relief from the immediate pressures on us, but do not have much effect on the situations themselves. The real purpose is to relieve only ourselves. Somehow, we must find that which is big enough to absolve us from artificial and ineffective methods for increasing welfare and well-being. This means the large view, the great faith, which will release the vast courage. Okay, so let's break this down a moment. Let's go back for a second. So when Howard Thurman says this, and what he said prior to that, there are a lot of people who are outraged about the miscarriage of justice. And okay, but how many of us are actually doing something about it? There are a lot of people, oh, what a tragedy. Oh, what a shame. Oh, life in such and such forth and forth. Okay, but what are we doing about it? Right? Putting a Band-Aid on your steering wheel as though that will somehow fix a flat tire is how we handle a great many of our social ills. Why have we not stopped mass shootings? Because we are not effectively addressing what is at the cause. We are putting bandages on steering wheels while the brakes are broken. We're adjusting the mirror while the gas pedal is stuck. We're rolling down the windows while there's a fire in the trunk. And we do this because we want to relieve our own pain and suffering and anguish, which is one reason why a lot of folks in New Thought say, don't talk about that stuff. They bury their heads in the metaphysical sand because in their mind, ignorance is bliss. If I don't see it, if I don't talk about it, then it doesn't exist. La, 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 la. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. So we have to increase our consciousness, our imagination, and our willingness to push the boundary of what's possible in order to truly transform and create a world that works for everyone, where true liberation is actually how we are living. So once again, what does love say is possible regarding that? The pent-up energy of life and the possibility of further human evolution work through each person's imagination and will. The time is now, and the place is where we are. The energy of life and the possibility of further human evolution work through your imagination, my imagination, our imagination, and our ability to be inspired and act. And the time to do that is now, and the place to do that is precisely where we are now. So you may remember from last week when we talked about innovative new thought and this and that, right? Well, because of where we are this week, we're talking about something slightly the same, yet slightly different. Transformation, healing, and evolution occurs when we live our faith originating from love. When we live our faith originating from love, transformation, healing, and evolution occur. The phoenix is reborn from the ashes. So are we living our faith from love, originating from love? Are we living, not thinking it, not even practicing it? Are we living it? We don't practice breathing. We breathe. And many other things, we don't practice doing it. We do it. Now, if something catastrophic happens and, there's an injury or whatever, yes, some people have to relearn, well, sort of relearn how to walk or relearn how to talk because they have to go through whatever, but it's already there because it was there before the injury or accident or whatever. So it's still there. So they're bringing it back. But it's not like when we were kids and, first born, and I've never walked before. So like this is a brand new thing. Well, it's not brand new. You were walking before the accident. You may not remember that, but we remember it for you. And we know that it's possible, which is why we are here with you to help you regain that ability. Are we living our faith? We must relight the torch of our imagination by fire caught from heaven. We must remain faithful to this vision, for a realization of the presence of God is the secret power for our work. Are we set ablaze with the vision, with the imagination, with the what does love say is possible? Now, note this concept of fire caught from heaven within our we believe statements. What do we say about heaven? We believe that heaven is within and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. Are we conscious of this secret power? It's not a secret, but are we conscious of this power and this presence that is living, moving, and having its beingness as us? Are we putting it to use? We must remember that at the level of the daily round, we must put on our courage. We must put our own courage, gentleness, and kindly devotion at the disposal of simple community in our homes, in our work, and in our play. We must put our courage, gentleness, and kindly devotion to use. The good deed continues to be good. The kind word continues to be kind. The cup of cold water given to the thirsty continues to be refreshing and reassuring. The need for love is as urgent and as desperate as ever it was. Faith in life, faith in oneself, faith in one another, faith in God, faith as God. These are the necessities for our peace and healing and transformation. Now, note, he didn't say once in a while. He said daily. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, mastery is not simply an act, then, it is a habit. In what ways are our habits demonstrating love, faith, imagination? No matter what it is we do on any given day, the habits of how I tie my shoes, put on a jacket, shovel snow back in January, chip ice, all that stuff. How does it demonstrate Whatever the habit is, can I identify it and say life affirming, non-life affirming, shift. Life affirming, non-life affirming, shift. Non-life affirming, non-life affirming, non-life affirming, life affirming, shift, shift, shift. Ideally, all of the things we engage in moment by moment every day should be expressions of love, the embodiment of love, creativity and wisdom, and all of these things. And even when we may not identify that it's there, I am extremely mad, pissed off about the conditions of, yeah, feel it, acknowledge it, and then identify what is yours to do. To write senators, congresspeople, to protest peacefully, to boycott. What is yours to do? Create a quilt. Do decoupage. How do you express the divine? As we reconnect with this core tenet of Science of Mind and Spirit 4.0, we are invited and encouraged to remember that while we cannot change every single experience, we cannot change every condition, we cannot change every effect, we do have both the ability to change many of the effects and many of the conditions and many of the experiences of life, as well as the ability to change our response to them 100%. Rooted in and as love, applying life-affirming faith, imagination, innovation, and bolstered with the courage to face it all, we most certainly can manifest our vision. Do you believe? You know, it's funny that I just said that. Do you believe? I used to have a sign language performance company of that name, Believe. It was an acronym, BELIEVE. Being empowered, living inspired, exemplifying victory every day. Do you believe? This week's affirmation, our declaration, I will say it first. If it resonates with you, I invite you to repeat it with me the second time. I am a co-creator of a world I am imagining into being with my every thought, word, emotion, and deed. Together. I am a co-creator of a world I am imagining into being with my every thought, word, emotion, and deed. What does love say is possible? This week's opportunity to journal and discuss. Number one, what is something that I at one time thought was not possible for me to do or to be or to have, which I now know was possible? What made it possible? Number two, how often do I exercise my imagination in life-affirming and non-life affirming ways? How often do I exercise my imagination in life affirming and non-life affirming ways? Examples of each include. Number three, what is possible for me to be, do, and have currently? What about for SIA, CSL, for New Thought as a movement, for the United States of America, for Earth? What is possible to be, do, and have? And lastly, In what ways do I exercise my body, mind, emotions, and spirit daily? What could I do more of or less of to be more effective? And breathe. As we continue our practice out and about in the world, this week, have a conversation where you practice explaining how love makes the possible possible. Breathe. As we enter into that space of infinite awareness, knowing love is all there is, that means infinite possibility is living, moving, and having its beingness as us. Every atom and every molecule all move because of the energy of possibility. They are alive because of the energy of love, moving all of creation as us. Our thoughts move because love moves. Our breath moves because love moves. Our blood, nervous system, digestion, all of this movement because love moves. Love is not stagnant. Love is not still and motionless. Love moves. Love is a verb. Wisdom moves. Wisdom is a verb. The divine moves. The divine is a verb. Even in things that appear to be motionless, that mountain, that rock, we know it is alive with atomic energy as the molecules shift and move and bounce. It is alive. It is spirit showing up as and in the form of rock, granite, marble. It lives because the universe lives. It moves because the universe moves. And so knowing this, then everything that we do has the crossroads, the opportunity to shift into more effective transformation, healing, and evolution, and more effective transformation, healing, and evolution for myself individually and all collectively. But I must choose to wax on and wax off. I must choose to live the principles, not just talk them, not just attend and practice them during a workshop. I must embody and live them. And so as we come to close for today's message and we come to close the month of February, we breathe knowing that with the next moment, the next day, the next new now moment is the next new now opportunity to reimagine, to build or rebuild, to form or reform. Whatever it is that we need to build and create, envision and manifest, heal and transform to create a world that works for all. The moment is now. The place is here, right where we are. We are the amen of the universe itself, which means it's already forming, it's already moving, and it's already shifting. But there is greater transformative power that happens when we do so collectively. I alone can build a house, but together, what would take me 5 years to do, we can do in 5 weeks. And so we breathe, seeing it already formed and knowing that it is so. and we push. What does love say is possible? And we push. What does love say is possible? And we push. And so it is. Namaste, blessings, much love and appreciation as always. Thank you for being here. Make sure you click like and share the link with those you think might benefit from the message. Invite some family and friends to join us in the work that we are doing. But other than that, make sure your week is full of fun, full of joy, full of love, full of imagination. What does love say is possible? Now live that.